Hello! My name is Callista, and welcome back to Pentiment. In the last episode, we had dinner with Father Gano. It didn't go as badly as I assumed it was. I personally thought it was going to end with everyone just shouting at each other, maybe a fist fight, but no, things were kept relatively civil. We managed to avoid giving an answer as to if we sided with him or with the peasants. Obviously, we side with the peasants, but I think Andreas doesn't really want to stir the pot. He's just like, yo, I want to spend my time here, and then eventually go back to Nuremberg. I don't want to get involved in any kind of shenanigans that could maybe result in me being responsible for someone's death. You know, he's very much just like, please, leave me out of it. Now, we were told to head back to the commons. The bonfire should, I would assume, be in full swing, so let's see, how's that going? I'm going to make the assumption of not well. For dramatic purposes, I feel like if anything is going to go wrong, it should go wrong now. Oh, hello. I can hear that it's gotten started. Well. You're that artist, the one who lived with the Gertners. Got mixed up in the wonderful killing of that rat, the Baron. Yes, Andreas Mailer. I was just trying to clear my friend's name. I mean, we've already introduced ourselves to her before. I was just trying to clear my friend's name. You think I care? If a flood washed the abbey and all the monks into the river, I'd grab the nearest man and dance a weller in joy. Anyway, no time to talk now, fancy man. It's time to call to the fire. Does St. John's Eve mean a lot to you, Cole? Well, I mean, clearly it does. It means a lot to everyone. I'm more interested in this. Cole? Oh, so she's doing something for Perchta. Okay. Older arms, Mama Perchta. Nous sarden quest quad perti. Vi, nous clamenti. I don't know what's happening. Alright, I'm gonna go. Enjoy the evening, Andreas. But if you want my advice, stay out of the woods tonight. Okay, you creepy. You creepy madam. You scared the shit out of me. Okay, let's have a nice chat with everyone first. Master Andreas, look at how big the bonfire is. The decorations are so fancy. The St. John's Eve festival is a big event for Tassing. I missed it last time I was here. Haven't you ever been to a festival like this, Casper? The festival in Nuremberg are much bigger. Tassing's quite tame comparatively. That's just shitting on Tassing. No. The St. John's Eve festival is a big event for Tassing. I missed it last time I was here. Haven't you ever been to a festival like this, Casper? No, I've never seen anything like this. Can I stay at the bonfire and see the costumes and watch them collect herbs, Master Mailer? Please? All right, but follow along and don't get in their way. I'm too tired for the festival. I think I'll turn in for the night. No, Casper, it's late, and I don't want to risk the abbot's anger. Let's just head back and go to sleep. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about the abbot's anger. If it'd make Casper happy. I mean, I'm thinking, like, another murder incoming. Another murder, like, this is a murder mystery game. Like, it's gonna happen. I think, Andreas, He's sticking his head in the sand. He's like, oh, just because Sister Amelie had another vision doesn't mean that there's going to be another murder. Like, it happened once. That could be a coincidence. Like, Andreas would be sticking his head in the sand. I don't think he'd see any problem in allowing Casper to do this. This is a relatively safe place. He trusts the townsfolk. They're not going to do anything to Casper. All right, but follow along and don't get in their way. I'm too tired for the festival. I think I'll just turn in for the night. Yes, I promise I won't make trouble. I'll see you tomorrow, Master. Okay. Okay, we could go to bed, or we could talk with everyone. How's everyone doing? Oh, what's that? Oh, that's so cute. That's adorable. Oh, I love the kids. I love the kids that they're doing stuff, that they're active. They could just be stood, you know, stationary, but no, this... Yeah, of course they'd be picking stuff up and jumping around. Aww. Evening, Andreas. Say, how do you like the bonfire? We built it nice this year, big and sturdy. It's a fine setup, Carl. Excellent work. It's not as impressive as the ones I've seen in Nuremberg. Who cares about Nuremberg? It's a fine setup, Carl. Excellent work. I know we can't compare to where you come from, but we still give it our all in celebration of the light who prepared the way for our Lord. Anton, you remember Andreas Mailer, the master artist? Yeah, I've seen him around town. Son, be polite. Ugh. Hello, Master Mailer, how are you? I'm well, thank you, young man. Fine, I guess. It hasn't been a great time back in Nuremberg. Now, this is a well-raised kid. Does as he's told. This just seems shitty. I'm well, thank you, young man. Anton's a good boy, let me tell you. A bit of a rascal, as you can see, but he's got a good head and a good heart. Likes to hide it, though. Ugh, Dad, will you stop? Easy to rile you up, just like your mother. How is Helena? She's not attending the bonfire. So what do you think of the festival, Anton? I thought this was someone else. I thought this was the guy that was sleeping with Kat. No, this is the guy whose wife was pregnant last time we were here. Okay. How is Helena? Is she not attending the bonfire? No, I don't. I know who Helena is. I know who she is. She'll join us later. She went with Martha to dip their toes into the stream and to pick some flowers for the garlands and wreaths. It's important to hold to traditions. You're right, especially with the times we're having. Wreaths, dipping into the stream, aren't these more pagan customs? Yeah, but to be fair, a lot of Christian customs have pagan origins. You know, Easter, Christmas, like those have pagan origins. We can't forget that. This is probably a stupid question. Did they know this at this time? I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to assume that Andreas realizes that. You're right, especially with the times we're having. Besides, maybe Martha and Helena will come across the blossom of a fern out there. What's so funny about that? Ferns don't flower. That means no power to speak with animals for you, boy. Don't worry, Anton. You can always get a garland with St. John's wort to ward off any demons and evil spirits. Ah, yes, I've played that game before. In the forest with a maiden, seeking the fern that flowers. I doubt they'll have anything interesting to say anyway. Ooh. I'm drawn to this. I've gone off of these since starting Act 2. I don't think Andreas is so interested in his wild youth. I mean, I doubt they'd have anything interesting to say. Hey, animals see a lot of shit. Think of Schlau and Mousefanger. They'd have plenty of interesting things to say. I just hope that Carl doesn't take this the wrong way. You know, witch, burn him, toss him on the bonfire. Don't worry, Anton. You can always get a garland with St. John's wort to ward off any demons and evil spirits. Yeah, got that, Anton. Make sure to keep your eyes open for those spirits walking the earth tonight. Evil spirits and demons? I've never seen any myself. And you won't have to if we're careful, my boy. The bonfire will frighten them off with the help of the Lord. It's why we have the feasts and celebrations. Speaking of, what do you think of the festival so far, Anton? It's fine, I guess. I like the fires when they're lit. The mountains get to twinkle, like the stars. I don't like when people get drunk and rowdy as the night goes on. They get into fights and all. So, everyone likes to let loose sometimes. It's good for the body. But your dad keeps the trouble away, yes? Oh, anyone in particular? I'm a nosy bitch. Oh, anyone in particular? Well, not as much lately, but Martin used to get in trouble. Anton's got a good eye. Martin's been a solid fellow once he came back, but he sometimes drinks too much. He's calmed down lately. You know, he used to be kind of a shit. Language, boy. God, yeah. God doesn't look kindly on blaspheming. But those are your words, Dad. Best you don't quote me. Quote the scripture instead. It's better for your soul. You listen to your father, Anton. Oh. This will be remembered. We didn't even have a choice there. I will. I do. Jesus. Hey, what did I just say? Don't let your mother catch you with that mouth. Well, I'll let you get back to the festivities now. It was a pleasure. Until later, Andreas. Bye. Okay. Nice chat there. Oh, speak of the devil. Why, Martin, look who it is. Good evening, Andreas. Andreas, you're staying for the festival, I hope. Of course he's staying. Who would miss this? Especially after you burly boys built such a beautiful bonfire. A burly boy like me would do anything for you, Dove. Is that Dove or Love? It is Dove. Aww, that's cute. I'm so glad that Martin is no longer an asshole. A burly boy like me would do anything for you, Dove. Couldn't help myself. Stare at them blankly. Beautiful. No. Brigitte, Martin, you're both feeling very festive, I see. The food, the fires, the dancing, it really is a night to enjoy. It's to honour the anniversary of the birth of Blessed John, a vigil for he who prepared the way. Yes, yes, and he'd have liked everyone to have a good mood in their hearts and good food in their bellies. As a hermit who wandered in the desert, living off locusts and wild honey, he probably wouldn't agree. I'd like to live... Oh, flipping heck, Martin! Martin's getting frisky. Okay, we should probably leave. I'd like to live off some wild honey myself, if you catch my meaning. Who wouldn't? Now, I can't stop thinking about it. So are you going to heed Otto's call and go into the forest? Snort. Just change the topic. So are you going to heed Otto's call and go into the forest? No, I'm really not looking for trouble. There's enough of that going around. Right, I heard you've a tendency to get into trouble with the drinking and the brawling. Oh! Anton's been gossiping about you, Martin. Even though you supported him earlier during his speech, and you, Brigitte, not gathering any herbs, Let's not stir shit for the sake of stirring shit. Although it is fun. It is fun to stir shit. Martin has been a solid dude. He's really had a change of heart in between acts. He's settled down. He's become responsible. He's a good husband. I see no reason to poke at him. I see no reason to poke. And you, Brigitte, not gathering any herbs? My place is by my Martin's side. The word of the abbot is the word of the church. It's improper to go against the word of the church. Only slightly less improper than all the time you spend with Veronica. Oh, Brigitte, I'm sorry. It was a joke. It came out poorly. It's good for the heart to have cherished friends. It's fine. Andreas, I was about to say, the bonfire is enough. We will dance until our legs begin to waver. Right, Martin? Wouldn't miss it for the world. That's delightful. I hope you have a great evening. You as well, Andreas. Until later. So I guess now that Veronica is married, she's not spending quite so much time with Brigitte. I've got to be honest, I got lesbian vibes off of Veronica. To be blunt, I got the vibe that maybe she was gay. And that maybe she had a bit of a thing going with Brigitte. But now that, you know, Martin is back, he's a good husband, so Brigitte's like, I love my husband, I want to be more involved in my marriage. She's got Big George, and it's kind of separated them a little bit. Hello, Master Mailer. Evening, Till. Enjoying the festival? Very much so. I perhaps feel a tad old for the more active side of the celebrations, but I enjoy the sights and sounds. Did you know the word for the summer solstice leads back to the I'm assuming that's Romans. Yeah. Did you know the word for the summer solstice leads back to the Romans? I thought you didn't read Latin. I may have heard that, yes. Didn't we have a conversation with Till in Act 1 where he was like, I can't read? But then we've also heard mention that Father Thomas has been teaching everyone to read. I'm pretty sure I've heard that. I may have heard that, yes. Solstitium, the sun staying still in the sky, such as it looks like this time of year. A fitting allegory for the great cosmic arc of mankind, rise and fall. But to make up for that, dancing, leaping, songs, joy and mirth. People do seem elated, although I don't think the same applies to Abbot Gano. But can all this really keep away the decline? Ooh. It's not necessarily about keeping away the decline, it's about being happy in the moment, I think. People do seem elated, although I don't think the same applies to Abbot Gano. Otto's court in danger, I agree, going against the decree of the Abbey like so. The festival has always had a rebellious streak of jest and mockery. I don't see it as sacred as some. The church would disagree. We are to honour a major saint. It has to be sacred enough for the church not to condemn it as heretical, and what are we mocking? Ooh. That is the question. Who is this mockery directed towards? And what are we mocking? The fools of the community, most like. Oh, the vices. The vices folks get up to, especially those more important than us peasants. Overall, I think it brings people together. I wish I could read more about all this. Well, with the Abbey selling books from their library, I hoped I could get some for myself, but it proved to be far too expensive. Klaus and his printings have proven to be of more use and a fair bit cheaper. Have you come across any interesting tales? Does this mean you've read the 12 articles? I'd assume so. Let's not just talk about what's going on in town. Let's see what he's been up to. Have you come across any interesting tales? I have indeed, Master Mailer. Or, I didn't quite understand everything. The text was in Latin. It was by a Roman named Strabo? I think that's Strabo. It was by a Roman named Strabo, and it was about geography. That's why I noticed it. I don't believe I've had the chance to read anything by him. It were a fairly complicated read, I must admit. The book was about many kinds of barbarians, which also included the Rati tribe I read about years ago. The people who used to live on this very land before the Romans arrived. He called this place Ratium and described it as a cluster of... I don't know what this word is. A cluster of... Is that Daub? Is Daub even a word? Amber... 1 second. Google, help me. Okay. Yeah. Plaster. Plaster or clay. Okay. So like mud huts, effectively. He called this place Ratium and described it as a cluster of daub huts, and its people hostile and warlike, only interested in hunting and fighting. There was something about Manus and his sons, but I couldn't understand a lot of it. In any case, when the Romans came, most of these locals were driven out, but some were captured to work in the fields and the mines. What happened to the locals who were forced out? What were they mining? Well, I mean, if this is local, isn't there a salt mine just nearby? If we're talking about people who were on this land, I'd assume they were mining salt. What happened to the locals who were forced out? No idea. I would imagine that after the Romans were driven off, when their empire started falling apart, maybe the barbarians came back. But were they really the same people, or nomads from elsewhere? I guess we may never know. Thank you for the quick history. I'll let you get back to the festivities. Enjoy yourself tonight, Master Mailer. Until later. Lovely. And I see you over here, Werner. Andreas. Salutations, Andreas. Most wonderful to see you here. I see you two have met. What do you want with an inventor? I make all manner of mechanical contraptions filled with gears and levers and other such delights. Andreas here is a man of the mind. Why shouldn't he find interest in my work? For all the use it is. The mind of the inventor exists to create, to build, to go one step further. One step further towards the garbage heap. A very inspiring thought, Baltus. It makes sense you'd also be rude to your friends, but no. Just ignore him. A very inspiring thought, Baltus. Why, I thank you, Master Artist. Speaking of, have you had the chance to look around town tonight? I imagine the sights could be inspiring to your artistic mind. Tassing certainly looks cheerful with the decorations and bonfire. What do you mean? Well, look at it. How could you not be inspired by this? Tassing certainly looks cheerful with the decorations and bonfire. Indeed, look at their peasant ingenuity. Consider the bonfire itself. It is built to allow the air and the heat to flow through it at great speed, and how it roars. It's a clever piece of construction, but Otto's a clever man. Yes, and it's a clever piece of construction, but Otto's a clever man. It is a feat almost worthy of a university degree. These people have natural traditions. They've managed to figure out many clever things without even the most cursory education. It is knowledge that hails from preceding, there we go. It is knowledge that hails from preceding generations, lived experience passed along the chain of time. Not quite the knowledge of a rigorously educated mind, perhaps, but nonetheless useful. You don't need a university education to be smart. I just don't see the use for any of it. Well, I don't see the use for any of it. There's use right here. We are using it right now to build a bonfire, to have a good time. You don't need a university education to be smart. Of course you would say that. Neither of you know these people like I do. God has assigned them their place in the order of the world for good reason. There is some merit in learning from the peasants, even you, Werner, given their understanding of herbal remedies. Their traditions are profane. Consider the Eve of St. John, tainted by their pagan rituals. It's an affront to Christ. Saint Eligius warned against precisely this nearly 1,000 years ago. And nothing has come of these pagan festivals in all that time. Where'd this newfound piety come from? You're really wound up about this, aren't you? Yeah. And nothing has come of these pagan festivals in all that time. The harm infects a man's eternal soul, but you might not see it, but God can. Where'd this newfound piety come from? Okay, yeah, I don't necessarily remember him being this religious. Where'd this newfound piety come from? Don't pretend to know anything about me. I've been on a pilgrimage to Aachen? Located in the western edge of the Rhineland, Aachen is an ancient city built around thermal baths. It houses the remains of Charlemagne as well as many other relics. Okay. I've been on a pilgrimage to Aachen. I have visited the... Oh, Lord. Marian Shrine? An ornate golden reliquary in Aachen Cathedral. It holds the swaddling clothes and loincloth of Jesus, the Virgin Mary's dress, and the decapitation cloth of John the Baptist. I have visited the Marian screen and stood in front of the presence of those holy relics. To be in the presence of St. John the Baptist's beheading cloth was an experience I will never forget. I haven't managed the pilgrimage myself, but I hope to. I'm glad you've had an experience. Your family must be proud. I'm familiar, thank you. This just seems like... How do I put this? Werner's rude. He's rude, but I don't feel so offended that I'm like, we've got to get him. We've got to get him. Like, no, get him. I hate the man. But Werner, I'm just like, he's a bit of a prick, but he's not... He's not worth the hassle of aggravating. I haven't managed the pilgrimage myself, but I hope to. It would do you good, Mailer, if you need it. Now, let us keep peace in our hearts as brothers in Christ. We're here to celebrate. I'll let you continue with your evening then. Good night. A very good night. Oh, and do come by my workshop, Master Mailer. I would love to exchange ideas. It would be my pleasure if I can find the time. It means putting off return to Nuremberg. It would be my pleasure. Splendid. Until then. Mailer. Werner. Now then, you know what? I'm almost out of time. I'd assume that most people would be at the festival. You know what? I think I'm gonna bring this episode to a close right here. In the next episode, to start off, I'll have a run around town, just see if there is anyone who's decided not to attend the festivities, but otherwise, we'll carry on straight to bed. But until then, please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below, and if you wanted to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I've been Kallista. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.